June 8th, 2018. My name is Bill McCamley. I am a state representative in New Mexico from Las Cruces and Mesilla with your legislative update for the day. Today here in Santa Fe, in the chambers, we had an interim committee dealing with science and technology. And there's two roles of this committee that kind of plays. Number one is to oversee a lot of the nuts and bolts of how new science and technological things are implemented at the state level and state government, and to look at, how things are moving forward policy-wise. So last year, for instance, we talked about drone policy. We talked about cyber protection, cybersecurity, that sort of thing. So today there was a couple of things I really want to talk to you about. The first is that the head of the IT department for the whole state said that the state is really behind on updating both the Medicaid and the Children, Youth, and Families Department systems. And this is a real problem for two reasons. Number one, with Medicaid, it's a very old system, and every time the federal government does updates, if you don't have a modern system and those updates come down, it takes you a while to implement them, and people aren't getting the health care that they need because this systematic approach is falling a little bit behind. That's an issue. And the problem with CYFD is really big, because if there's not a good information system where social workers and probation officers and all those guys can input their information, input their data into an integrated system so that other people can look at it, people fall through the cracks. And you really see that with those kids in Albuquerque that are getting abused or all sorts of stuff that you see in the news, right? There's a lot of people that say, hey, well, we reported it to CYFD. Well, if those social workers are really overworked, if they have, too much to do and they don't have a system that allows them to easily input data, a lot of times their information falls through and maybe they don't get the help and the protection they need, and we need to do that as a state. So we're going to be starting to talk about how that can get fixed. He also talked about the transition process. So as we all know, this is the last 7 months of this governor, and he was actually really good. This guy, Darrell Ackley from the IT department, saying there are two types of state employees. There are exempt positions, which are political appointments, and those go away as soon as the new governor comes in. And then there's classified staff. These are the people that work within the government as long-term employees. They don't go away. So he said, look, what we're really doing is we're increasing our meeting schedule. We are really asking our classified employees to take a much bigger role in talking about the systems that they're working on, talk about the policies that they're going. So when a new administration comes in, they know what's going on. So you can continue a lot of these improvements for some of these systems that we learned about today. We also had an IT report from the Legislative Finance Council. This is the oversight authority that we have. These are staffers that work for the legislature that oversee state departments like IT. And one of their big issues was with staffing. Susana Martinez, it has been a consistent theme, refuses to hire people to take up needed jobs in a lot of these departments. So in the state land office, and once again, Children, Youth, and Families, they actually said that the lack of filling positions has really overworked the people that are there and really allowed a lot of these updates and new policies to fall by the wayside. And once again, if we don't have good people in good positions that are doing their jobs, it becomes harder and harder to keep track of all these situations, and you see the results of that with these kids that are, in abusive situations and not getting protection. Or what was that guy the other day who was hiring his 7-year-old out for sex, and that was reported to CYFD, and it just didn't work. I mean, that's just not acceptable, right? So we need to do better with those things, and that's what we're kind of starting to talk about today. So as always, if you have questions or comments on these or any of the issues, I'd love to hear from you. Thanks, everybody. I hope you all have a great weekend. Bye.